Alright, welcome everybody to another episode of the Arctic Pauper Show. This is your host, Arctic Ghost, and this time I'm bringing you what uh, is probably the most famous deck besides Delver and Pauper, Mono Green Stompy. At one time, Mono Green Stompy was the only deck that could rival Delver before Peregrine Drake came around. Uh, but since Peregrine Drake came around, Stompy decks have been kind of falling to the wayside a little bit, but I happen to still think the deck is very good. I think you have to get a little luckier. You have to tune your lists a certain way, but I think the deck is just as powerful as it's always been. And if you love Pauper, if you want to get into Pauper, I think it's a great deck you should try. So, without further ado, let's get into my list. We have 2 Volt Scourge. It's just a great zero. It's just a great, not zero. It's a great 1 mana 1/1. Sure, you lose 2 life, but this little sucker usually gets in at least twice, and you'll gain your life back. The fact that it has lifelink is very good, but it's really the fact that it has flying that you mainly like in this deck. You slap on a Rancor or a Bone Splitter on it, becomes a nice beater in the air. For more beaters, you have Nettle Sentinel, arguably the most aggressive good 1-drop in Pauper for green. Then you have Kieran Ranger. Kieran Ranger might not seem like it's that great in this deck, but you only have 16 lands, and a lot of the time you're only operating on 2 lands. But also the fact that it allows you to untap your good blockers like Mireboa or Young Wolf is actually very good. And also the fact that it keeps rebuying landfall for groundswell also makes it almost just as invaluable. Filling out the rest of the 1-drops is Skarg and Pitskulk, another great 1-mana, usually a 2/2, but even as a 1/1, because it says creatures with power less than it can't block, all of your pump spells make this card incredibly lethal. So, if you have to play it as a 1/1, don't be too unhappy. And then Young Wolf. Before Young Wolf was around, Stompy didn't quite have the best protection against Edict effects. It also didn't really have that good power creature that's really, really annoying. When Young Wolf was printed, Stompy finally got its wish. Young Wolf has been in Stompy for a long time. It's a great card. Maybe it should be a 3 of, but I like 4. I think it's great. I think it's amazing. I think it's a great blocker. I think it's a great attacker. The fact that it comes back from removal spells is great. The fact that it basically blanks Chainer's Edict, Diabolic Edict, the budget one that makes you gain life, whatever. Whatever you're playing. I think Young Wolf is great. Moving on to the 2-drops, you have Nest Invader. At first, I didn't think that this card was actually all that good, but since you do have 5 Rancor type effects, the 0/1 that you get as a token is actually quite good, and I have actually used it for mana a couple of times. And also, Nest Invader's a solid 2/2, so I think he's cool. River Boa over Meyer Boa, but River Boa is great because islands are, well, in Pauper islands are everywhere, and the fact that it regenerates makes it such a good card. I have not been unimpressed by this card at all whatsoever. And then you have Garrick's Companion. A great, great 2-mana 3/2, and it comes with Trample along with it. So when you're slapping cards to it, like Mutagenic Growth, a Groundswell with Landwalk, with Landfall, and a Kicked Vines of the Vastwood, it becomes quite a lethal creature. Now, yes, Vines of the Vastwood Kicked is just a good card by itself. Groundswell is just a good card by itself. But putting it on this guy where you don't actually need a Rancor on it, quite good. As far as the pump spells goes, you have 3 Mutagenic Growth because it's a great free spell. I think it's an easier place for Groundswell. You have only 2 Hunger in the Howl Pack because your creatures aren't going to die a lot, and obviously if your creature is dying, it's not that great of a card. But still pretty good. I mean, I would rather play this over something like Giant Growth. Then you have Groundswell and you have Vines of Vastwood. Arguably your two best pump spells in the deck next to like Rancor. Groundswell is just 1 mana +4/+4 most of the time, and this is a counter spell and a pump spell in and of itself. So it's insane. And then you have basically 5 Rancor effects in a pseudo Rancor with Bone Splitter. I think I'm using that word correctly. I have no idea whatsoever. And of course, just Rancor's amazing. Rancor on a Riverbow against a blue deck is just great. And then 16 Force. That's basically it. The main deck is pretty much as stock as you can get with the a couple of minor adjustments here and there. I mean, the three River Boa, the 3 Garrick's Companion, stuff like that. The sideboard has been pretty experimental. I've been going back and forth with it a little bit, but I think I finally have the right sideboard I want to take in. You have two Fairy Macabre and two Relic of Progenitus. Relic is really against just any graveyard type strategy, but Fairy Macabre is really against Moment's Peace and just Drake decks in general. That's really why they're there. Natural State, I think, has grown to be one of my more favorite sideboard cards because against Hexproof, you really want something that destroys it at instant speed. You really want to make sure they don't gain the life of Armadillo Cloak. You really want to make sure that you can stop the Ancestral Mask from from doing anything dirty to you. So that's why I like it. But then you still have one Gleeful Sabotage because again, well, it is 2-for-1. Then you have Nourish against Burn decks. Burn's been making quite a little bit of a comeback from what I've seen. So I'm testing with 3. You can also bring it in against like the Mirror. This is really where like a Fog effect would be. But for now I want to try Nourish. Then you have Epic Confrontation, which I've been getting my butt handed to me by against most Stompy decks, so I figured I'd try it. I think it's a great card against anything with big creatures. And then 3 Scattershot Archers to just say, Delver, please, I don't want to play against you. That's basically why they're there. Now, you could put things like Aerial Volley or Gut Shot in this spot, but I happen to like Scattershot Archer. The fact that it's just a static, kill all their fairies and things like that, I think is just really where you want to be. And I think that from this deck's perspective, trying to deal with Peregrine Drake is actually the card Peregrine Drake is actually the wrong approach. Now, I don't claim to be a Stompy expert but from the Peregrine Drake perspective, I think that what you want to do as the Stompy deck is against any version. Obviously, you want to be as quickly as possible. You want to end the game as quickly as you possibly can. The longer the game goes, that's bad for you. So you want to just be as aggressive as possible. Now, against the Tron versions, you can bring in Natural State to also blow up their Prophetic Prisms to kind of, screw them on colored sources. That's where Fairy Macabre and Relic of Progenitus really come in against Moment's Peace. But against like the blue-red Drake deck, yes, that deck is going to be very tough for you because it is a blue-red control deck, so it's playing it's playing just about all the best blue cards. Has Mole Drifter, Compulsive Research, has Counterspell, and it's playing all of the best red removal with except for Scred. Has Flame Slash, Lightning Bolt, and Firebolt. It's going to be a tough matchup no matter what. You're very good against the Tron versions if you can beat them fast enough. Yes, the blue-red version is going to be a little tough, but if we run into it, maybe we'll beat it. If we don't, looks like we have some more studying to do. So I think I've bored you guys enough. Let's just say I'll see you back for the games. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.